He filled the calendar. He filled the inbox. He filled every silence with something, anything, so the one thought he refused to think could never find its way in. Here is the paradox no productivity system will tell you. The people most terrified of death are, statistically, the ones wasting the most of their lives avoiding thinking about it. Two men figured this out, 2,000 years apart, from opposite ends of the earth, and neither of them looked away. There is a specific kind of high-functioning person who has built, carefully, over decades, a system designed to answer every question except one. The system handles finances, handles health, handles career trajectory and social reputation, and even, sometimes, handles the feelings of the people around them. But the system has a gap, a deliberate one, a question it was designed, from the beginning, to never ask. The question is not, am I successful enough? Not, am I loved? Not, am I doing the right work? The question is, what happens when the system ends? And the answer, the one the system was built to prevent, is that no spreadsheet survives it. In 1958, a researcher named John Calhoun began a series of experiments that would run for nearly 2 decades. He built a perfect world for mice. No predators, no scarcity, food dispensed automatically, space allocated precisely. Every biological need answered before it could even become a need. He called the final iteration Universe 25. By 1972, every mouse was dead. Not from starvation, not from disease. They groomed themselves endlessly, not because they were dirty, but because grooming was the only behavior left that felt like doing something. They stopped reproducing. They stopped engaging with one another. One by one, with no external cause, they simply ceased. The cause of death, technically, was the absence of anything real to push against. Calhoun had a name for what happened to the mice that stopped trying. He called them the beautiful ones, perfectly groomed, perfectly fed, perfectly hollow. A man who fills every hour so the silence cannot find him. A creature in a perfect cage that has forgotten what cages are for. The mechanism is the same. The outcome, Calhoun noted, was always the same. The first man was Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, commander of the most powerful military in the known world. He controlled more variables than any person alive in the 2nd century: armies, supply chains, treaties, the legal code of an entire civilization. And every night in private journals he never intended anyone to read, he wrote about death. Not out of depression, not out of morbidity. He was practicing something the Romans called memento mori, remember you will die. He wrote, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. He was not indulging despair. He was using the awareness of an ending to clarify what the middle actually required. Every morning he had already sat with the worst possible outcome. So every decision made that day was made by a man who had already done the real accounting. On the other end of the earth, in the Zhou dynasty of ancient China, a man named Lao Tzu wrote something that sounds, at first, like a riddle. To know enough is wealth. To live fully until death without losing yourself, that is the only real longevity. He was not talking about living longer. He was talking about something the calendar system cannot track. Whether by the end the person who shows up to die is still the person who started, or whether in the accumulation, the filling, the optimizing, the managing, something essential was quietly traded away. Notice what Lao Tzu did not say. He did not say, stop working. He did not say, abandon the system. He said, do not lose yourself inside it. There is a version of a full life that is indistinguishable from the outside, from a beautiful one. The difference is not visible in the calendar. It is only visible in the quality of attention the person brings to what they have chosen to fill it with. That distinction between filling and choosing is where Marcus and Lao Tzu meet. Marcus divided the world into two circles: the inner, your judgments, your values, the quality of attention you bring to each hour; the outer, everything else, reputation, outcomes, the opinions of people who will not remember your name in 50 years. Memento mori was his method for seeing which circle he was actually investing in on any given day. Lao Tzu called it Wu Wei, non-forcing action, not passivity. The particular clarity of a person who no longer burns energy fighting what cannot be changed, and therefore has everything available for what can. Two different languages, the same discovery. The man who has faced his ending is the only one truly free to choose how to spend what remains. Marcus Aurelius died in 180 AD on campaign, far from Rome. His journals, the ones he wrote only for himself, survived. We call them the Meditations. 17 centuries later, they remain in print in dozens of languages. Lao Tzu is believed to have written the Tao Te Ching, 81 short verses, sometime in the 6th century BC. It is the second most translated book in human history. Two men, two languages. Neither of them was trying to be remembered. Both of them were simply trying to see clearly. And perhaps that is the mechanism. The man who has stopped running from the question of death is the one whose work survives it. If you stayed until this moment, you did not come here for a productivity hack. You came because some part of you already suspects that the system you've built has a gap in it, and that the gap is not a failure of planning. It is the question the planning was designed to avoid. That kind of honesty is not common. It is, in fact, the beginning of the only kind of clarity that lasts. Right now, are you filling the calendar because you know what matters, and this is how you protect it? Or because the silence, if you let it in, would ask a question you are not yet ready to answer?